Alright, today I'm going to show you how to use a 1-inch grid to do a drawing of, well, a self-portrait. So I need a ruler, a piece of paper, a pencil. I'm going to start in the top left corner of this piece of standard typing paper and lightly make a mark every inch from the left side. The reason I'm doing this lightly is because in the end I want to erase all of these grid marks and the grid itself. We don't want anybody to know that we used a grid to do the drawing. So I'm going to lightly make these marks. I'll make them a little bit darker than you should because I want you to be able to see them. But when you draw your grid, you should do it just barely so you can barely see it. So I'm connecting these dots. So these lines are 1 inch apart from each other and they're parallel. And here on the right side of the paper, we'll end up with a column that's about 1/2 inch wide. That's okay. Now I need to I'm going to start from the top right of the page, turn my page over, and make marks going down the right-hand side every inch. Now it's really important that you do this part right, so you end up with a 1-inch grid. If you mess up on these measurements, you'll have lines going all over the place, and it will make things difficult. So start right, and your life will be much easier. Now I'll connect these dots, and every one of these squares that's made is 1 inch on all sides. Okay, now across the top, I'm going to do very lightly again, do some numbers. Each column gets a number. So I'm going 1 through 9, and down the side, I'll just do letters. And I'm going to remember that these will also be erased. Okay, so I've got my 1-inch grid. This is what I'm going to draw on. And now you need to print out a picture of yourself, a selfie. It should be your full face, maybe a little bit of your shoulders, nothing more. And on this picture, I've already done it to save some time. You're going to do the exact same grid. So you start in the top left, you do your measurements all the way over, across, make the lines going down, and then do the same thing where you're making measurements every inch along the sides. So you have the exact same grid. Now there's a little margin on this paper. Don't start from the picture, start from the edge of the paper. All right, this grid is going to help us draw this picture. And I'll show you how. So let's start with the eye. I already did one. Speed things up here a little bit. I said, I'm going to start with this eye. I'm going to go F. It's in the F row, 3rd column. So I drew in the F row, 3rd column. I started to draw that eye. Now I'll go on to the other eye, which is also in the F column, 6th row. So I find F6 over here. And when I look at this, I'm going to go ahead and make another line right down the middle of this square and right across the middle here. So I know that in the middle of this square, right here, that's where the bottom of the eye is. It comes across and crosses the middle right here and goes over into this square just a little bit, then up, and the top of the eye is just underneath this line right here. So this grid helps us get everything in the exact spot where it's supposed to be, and helps us a lot with proportions. This is just one way to draw a picture, and people have been using this for hundreds of years. You could say it's a way to cheat, but I like to think of it as just another tool to help you draw things right. The trick to doing this is to erase the grid as you grow so nobody knows you used a grid. So be sure to draw lightly. Okay, the eyebrow starts right about here, goes across this square, and almost all the way over to this point. Okay, and as I do these hairs in the eyebrow, let's see, now I'll erase the grid where I'm going to draw, since I already have it in there. Gotta remember, eyebrows are made of a bunch of little hairs, so every little stroke is going to be just like a hair, so I get that good texture going on. Okay, and I could do an outline of the nose here. This nostril crosses the corner of this square. This one is about in the middle of here that it starts. And it doesn't quite go to that edge right there. Then the outside of the nostrils come down like this. I kind of lied. I said a self-portrait. This handsome fella isn't exactly me. But I'd figure, for this video, should do something a little bit better looking than myself. So that's the basics. You need to complete the entire drawing. It needs to be shaded. No grid showing at all. Take a picture, send it to me to complete your assignment.